Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Come on in here with me and let's open our Bibles up today. We're going to look at Psalm 100 verse 5. So verse 5 today is our subject. Now we've seen the structure of the psalm, the 7 imperatives that make for a nice chiastic structure. This verse comes after the chiasm, but explains again why. Why should we give thanks, be glad, sing, bless His name, be thankful, all the rest. Come into His courts with praise. Why are we doing that? Well, the main reason is there in verse 3. We've studied that. Know this, the Lord, He is God. It is He that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. So that alone is really enough, but to sort of tie together 3 with the ending, we have this statement of reason, this concluding chorus that comes at the end, and it's very familiar to the Psalms. We've seen it in lots of places. We'll see it in lots more places. So let's read verse 5. For the Lord is good, His mercy is everlasting, and His truth endures to all generations. The Lord is good, His mercy is everlasting. This is one of those choral phrases that we find in many, many scriptures. We find it in 106 verse 1, Psalm 107 verse 1, 118 verse 1, 136 verse 1. It's one of those phrases that begins, and here it ends the psalm, but in these other ones, it begins the psalm. And when it begins a psalm, you know exactly where you're going with the psalm. The Lord is good. So what's His goodness look like? Well, each psalm is going to sort of reveal that in a different way. Here we have it ending the psalm, so it acts like the knot at the end of the rope. This is what it's all about. This sort of sums up everything that's been said. You go back to verse 1. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Why? The Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting. His truth endures to all generations. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before His presence with singing. That's verse 2. Why? For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting. His truth endures to all generations. As a matter of fact, you could squinch together, if you just took out verse 4 and squinched together 3 and 5, you'd have a marvelous statement about who God is. Know this, the Lord, He is God. It is He that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture, for the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting. His truth endures to all generations. And isn't it wonderful how the Lord is good comes on the heels of, we are His people, the sheep of His pasture. If you were to do that, that is, if you were to squinch them together. And that phrase, the Lord is good, we find it in lots of other places too. We find it in Psalm 34, for example. That's a marvelous psalm. If you go back and read that again, that's beautiful. We find it in Psalm 119. Psalm 119, 68. For the Lord is good and does good. Teach me your statutes. O Lord, you are good and doest good. Teach me your statutes. That's what Psalm 119 says. So, we find the goodness of the Lord declared throughout the Psalms, but here it's put together with His mercy, it's everlasting, and His truth that endures from generation to generation, which is the way the Hebrew has it. Let me just look at my Hebrew text real quick. Yeah, it's from generation to generation. Your truth lasts that long. It's never out of style. It's always going to be there. So the truth endures from generation to generation. Remember, we talked about the generation that knows not God. That there in verse 3, He has made us and not we ourselves. There is a generation that thinks, we've done this all ourselves. But no, the generation that is wise understands that God's truth endures from generation to generation. His mercy is everlasting, and He is good. Know this, that the Lord, He is God. I hope you'll join me again next time as we look at Psalm 101 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.